So hello there, this is Kelvin Elisha Ziwa, and once again welcome to one of my lesson segments. This is Elisha FX. And so in today's episode, we'll have a Q&A where I'll be responding to some of the questions that I've received over some period of time now. And then I'll also have one query that I'll respond to. So the query was that it was based on how I actually opened my channel. Someone was saying like I just went direct into analyzing the markets and all that. Meanwhile, I didn't consider someone who is just starting and they don't know anything to do with the forex itself, yeah. And so yeah, that's true. I just went direct into analyzing the markets. I was describing terms and everything. I didn't explain exactly what forex is. But to be honest, that's the part where actually people pay for the knowledge. Yeah, that's because it's more like you're acquiring a business knowledge. Of course, you have to know about it. You have to actually learn it. You have to study it, and then you actually venture into it. So my approach was basically on someone who is already in the process of learning, maybe with someone else or with self-taught. Maybe they are reading some books, they are watching some videos, then they may be watching my videos as well, so that they just cement on what they are learning. And so yeah, but I'm not going to let anyone pay, of course. This is just an overview of what forex is. I'll just try to explain briefly what it is and what is involved in it, and then yeah, luckily you have me, you will do it for free. But yeah, people pay for that. That's where people pay for that, of course. But yeah, to get started, that's the query that I received. But I have 5 more questions after that concerning forex, of course. Nothing else, nothing personal, just the forex and my channel, of course. So the query, what is forex? So forex is simply exchanging currencies. Of course, you want to exchange one currency that you have with another currency. So there is always pairing, like you pair, let's say US dollars. I know that the audience, most of the audience, my audience to be specific, are Zambians. So I'll give an example of the USD ZMK, like the Zambian kwacha. You always, in forex, you always have such a pair, and if you are trading, you'll be trading a pair. You will never trade just the US dollar, of course. So you'll be trading a pair. So it's more like you have your money maybe in US dollars and you want to change them into kwacha, hoping that the kwacha will gain value, and afterwards you change them back into the US dollars in order for you to make some profits. So that's the idea. The idea is always changing money from one to the other in order to make some profits. That's the forex itself. But it's not really necessarily what happens like in the bureaus, because if you just talk about exchanging money, one money for the other, it's more like what happens in the bureaus, of course. But in this case, you are doing it online. You have a broker, and that broker will offer you some leverage, something what we call leverage, like the amount of money that you can control with your small money. And then you also have things like lot size, where you manage your risk and everything in order for you to like manage a large sum of money. So it's not necessarily like you have to wait for price to move, like maybe for example the dollar, the same example that I gave, the US dollar ZMK. You don't have to wait for the quarter to move like from 20 maybe to 23 for you to make a profit. No. But those small changes, those small movements, such as from 20.10 to 20.50, that's a big move in Forex. And so you will be looking forward to actually trade such a movement. Even the small movements, you can trade them and you can make a lot of money. And so that is the kind of that's what Forex is in short. And that's what you have to understand. Once you're getting into this market, you have to do some analysis of the economy. Like you analyze the economies on both sides. So let's say, for example, the same example that I gave, US dollars versus like against the ZMK. You have to know the economies, how they are doing, like the Zambian economy. You have to know the US dollar, like the US economy. And you know like which pair is strong at what point. And then, yeah, that's when you do your trading. You have to actually mix the two. So there are two types of analysis, of course. There is the technical part, where you use the candlesticks, the market structures, and strategies and all that. And then there is also the fundamental part. So the fundamental is simply the news, the economic news that is affecting both pairs, the US dollar and then the ZMK, for our example, of course. And so to continue, that was the query. And so for more, you can reach out to me, of course, directly or maybe through the comment section. I'll be reading all the comments, of course. I can help out where it's necessary, of course. And so we'll move on to the next question. The next question was, are there any special skills needed for one to actually start trading? Yes, it's not, I won't call it special skills, but it is a skill that you have to acquire, which is the same knowledge, of course. It's more like any other business, of course. You have to know about it before you actually venture into it. So for instance, if you want to start selling groceries, or you want to start selling maybe phones, accessories, you have to know about the business, how much income you may make in a month, or where you order from. Everything about the business has to be known, of course, from A to Z. And it's the same thing about Forex. It's just a business, and you have to know exactly what is involved, what you have to do. It's not all about buttons where you click buy, sell, buy, sell. No, it's about you knowing exactly why are you clicking buy, why are you clicking sell at this specific period of time. You have to understand it, of course. So that's the skill itself. Like I said, the technical part, the fundamental part, those two are important to you. Once it comes to Forex, you have to know both sides, like how to analyze on the technical parts with charts, and then also the fundamental part with the news and everything. So that's the skill, basically, I would say. And then moving on to the second question. The first one was a query, so we didn't count it as a question. Someone was just concerned why I started my channel without talking about the Forex itself. Yeah. So yeah, the question was about the skill. That's where we started from. So for the second question, someone said, is there a specific period you need to take for you to be ready? So I'd say no. There is no specific period or minimum amount of days or months or years that you have to take for you to actually know about it. It's just about your commitment. It may be there may be someone who actually starts and know about the entire thing in a month or in some weeks, and they can be ready actually to even enter into the market. It's all about your commitment, the amount of energy, the amount of investment you have made into knowing about the Forex, of course. Are you reading on your own? Are you watching videos? Are you doing enough? In short, are you doing enough? Are you paying for your knowledge? Are you doing enough for you to actually acquire in the shortest period of time possible? It's very possible, even a month, 2 months, or for people who are doing it at a slow pace, it can even take years, a lot of years, for you to actually understand these things. But yeah, there is no specific or minimum amount of or the minimum period of time that you have to take. It can take any any longer you want, maybe a month, 2 weeks, or whatever, based on your commitment, of course. So next question was what minimum capital is needed? What minimum capital is needed? So there is no minimum, though you need a reasonable amount. So yeah, I would say there is no minimum amount that you have to put in for you to start, but you need a reasonable amount, because Forex is a percentage game. It's more like, it's a business of percentage. You always work with percentages. You risk percentages. For example, if you place a trade, you place a trade knowing that I'm risking 1%, hoping to gain maybe 2-3%, because mostly the risk reward ratio you use is the logic one is maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. So if you risk 1%, it means you're gaining 2%, you're gaining 3%, you're gaining 4%. Now if I ask a question like, imagine if you risked 1% of a $50 account. If you want to do your calculations there, you can do your calculations. And then there is also someone who has maybe $5,000 and then they risk 1% of the $5,000. So it means that it's a percentage game. If you have small capital, you'll be making small, of course. If you are following the right risk management, you will make small amounts, of course. But if you have a reasonable amount, you can make reasonable profits, of course, if you follow the right risk management. And then but good part is, in the modern world, in the modern trading world, there are what you call prop firms. I have a video about prop firms. Just click on this link here. So there are what you call prop firms. Those are companies that are willing to fund you money. I won't say much because you have to just go and watch the video. It's a long video, of course, about prop firms and everything. So there are companies that are willing to give you actually enough money for you to actually start trading and work on the percentages. So there is no minimum amount that you require, but you need a reasonable amount if you have your own personal account. But in a better way, if you don't have enough capital, you can rely on prop firms. Try to work on your prop firm, pass one of them, and then you get funded and you start working based on that. The profits that you generate from the prop firm, you can actually now venture them into your personal account. So that's my advice actually, but there is no minimum. Like I said, you can even start with $50 if you want, $20, $10, whatever it is. And then our next question says, do you make people pay? Do you make people pay for lessons? That's basically something that I actually said in the first part. But me personally, I don't. But like I said, once I was starting this channel, I think I gave an introduction that I am a student. I'm a third-year student now. And so my time may be limited because I am also working on my academic part. It's not only the Forex and stuff. So I'm also on the academic part. So for me to actually teach, to find free time, it may be very tough. But I don't pay. I don't make people pay, rather. I don't make people pay. I've actually taught, like, I think 2 friends of mine, like from nothing, like they never knew anything about it, and I had actually helped them, like, actually acquire some knowledge. They can even actually analyze the market today, like we say. As I say, actually, as I speak, they can analyze the market. They can even place trades. I actually opened the demos as well, and also their real accounts. But of course, they lose some money, they gain some money, they win some money. It's a win-lose game at times, and they are learning. I'm happy that they're actually doing that even in their real account, and they're learning, of course, the same way I'm also doing here. But I don't make people pay, but my time may be limited. At times where you may want me to actually explain something, I might not be available, of course, with my tight schedule. But I don't make people pay because I'm also in the process of figuring out my journey. Like I'm also figuring out my journey in this, so I don't think it's relevant for me to actually make someone pay. Maybe in the future, yeah. Maybe in the near future when I actually feel like okay, now I am settled, I can actually teach someone, because I don't want to make someone pay me for. I haven't really achieved much in this as well. Like I haven't yet achieved much in this. So I would want actually to actually achieve something. If it's a prop firm that I'm talking about, at least I get an account in the prop firms, of course, because currently I'm working on one. So at least I get one of the accounts, maybe let's say 50,000 US dollar account, 100,000 US dollar account that is funded. At least there I can have some guts to actually make someone pay for lessons, because I would feel like okay, I've achieved something. But currently I'm also in the process of figuring out things and stuff like that. Plus my time is limited, so I don't really make people pay. But in the near future I know that I'll make people pay for that. So just talk to me nicely, I may actually help you out.
If you want to talk to me direct, don't go through the corners.
But yeah, I don't make people pay. Luckily, I don't do that. So last but not the least, the question that we had is it gambling? Is it gambling? That's the question. But yeah, that's where the mix, like the confusion comes in. Like mostly, you even find big people, influencers talking about it as, no, Forex is a scam, Forex is gambling. It's more like betting and everything. No. So on my part, it's not. It's not only on my part, but in most cases, like everyone who comes to understand it and what happens in it, you will know that it's not betting, it's not gambling. Yeah, unless we call anything that has risks as gambling, then yeah, we can say that it's gambling. But I know that every other business out there has risks. Talk about maybe grocery shops or accessory stores. Anything out there has risks, to be honest. Even shares, like currently buying shares in companies, these new companies and all that, those are risky as well, like, because that company can be liquidated at any point. Even big companies, you'll find like maybe it has fallen. We have had some occurrences where a company comes, it gets some investments, people buy shares and all that, and then from the blues it disappears. It wasn't really legally, it wasn't legalized, in short, by the government and all that. So it goes away with all the investments that people have put in. Those are also risks. If you buy shares, you also have such risks involved. And it's the same thing, like every other business out there has risks. And then as long as you can control those risks, what do I say by control? It means that you can manage how much money you lose. The same way you say like shares, you can't buy all your shares in just one company, because you know that anything can happen. The company may lose some money and it may get liquidated, and so you may lose all your investments. Instead, you diversify, like you buy shares in different companies, of course. It's the same way that you can do like in Forex, of course. You can also use tools, different tools. There are different tools. That's why I said if you come to understand the industry itself and what you do in it, you will know that actually there are a lot of things, there are a lot of tools that you can use to actually limit your losses, you limit your risks. Things like stop loss, take profit, buy stop, buy limits, sell stop, sell limits. All those are set in place in order for you to control your risks. You don't have to risk everything that you have, but you have to risk something, of course, as a business. Every business has risks, and same as Forex, of course, it has risks. And so, unless you tell me that we're basing anything that has risks as gambling, then yeah, it is gambling. But as far as I'm concerned, every business out there has risks, and so no, it's not gambling. In Forex, you are able to control your losses, you can control your risks, you can actually manage them. There's what you call risk management. You manage how much you lose. You even know that if things go against me, I'm only losing this amount. And even after you get into profits, you can actually limit it. Things like no break even, all that. You can limit your losses. You can always adjust. You can always do that. It's just business, in short. It's business. It's nothing to do with gambling. It's just people with little knowledge about it that go on and feel as if no, it's gambling and all that. Based on like what you see on media, of course, people are out there. In every business, there are people who are scamming others, of course. But you just have to be careful with what you do. Like you have to make sure that you know it yourself, you know it at heart before you actually start doing something. Of course, any other business out there, you have someone who is scamming people. Of course, even these same things, you have people who are teaching others how to trade and they are making them to pay. Meanwhile, that person doesn't even know. They have never traded or they have never even done it. They have not achieved anything. That's why I was saying actually that I wouldn't make someone pay. Meanwhile, I haven't achieved something. I want to feel it that okay, here I've achieved something, I've moved, I've taken a step. That's when I can actually make someone pay. That is genuine. Like in every business, at least if you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you can now start like making other people pay you in order for you to teach them the skill. And that is just logic. Unlike someone who is doing that, meanwhile them they are not in that position of doing it. I don't think, yeah, that's so. Yeah, like basically I was just answering the gambling thing. It's not gambling, but there are people, of course, who are trying to like find other ways in making money. Like maybe they scam you into like paying for courses, online courses. Meanwhile, you don't get a normal course, you just get some basic stuff and all that. There are a lot of things that happen. That's why I advise actually, if you want to learn something in Forex, you rely on yourself. Like you have all the resources that you want. You have the media, you have the videos on YouTube, you have the books, the trading Bible over there. Yeah, you have the trading Bible, you have everything is there. Like this modern world, you have everything online. So you can rely on yourself. You just work on your time. You just make sure you have time to work on yourself, and voila, everything will be okay. But yeah, it's not gambling. And so yeah, that was our last question. Last but not the least, I think I'll do one of the Q&As again. This was fun. So keep your questions coming. If you have any questions, you can reach me directly. You can go into the comment section and then I'll answer them in the next section of the Q&A. But for today, that was all. Thank you very much for watching. This is Elisha FX. Make sure you watch, learn. Actually, talk about that. There are people who just say subscribe, like, and share. But for me, I want you to watch first. You learn. If you like it. Then you subscribe, of course, and then share. Like even if you don't like it, you can share it to someone who is actually interested into the business as well. They will benefit something, of course. So yeah, watch, learn, like, subscribe, and share the video, the channel itself. Until the next section.